Lockdown London Award. Great examples of people and projects that have helped us and our urban forest during lockdown. 3 nominations were put to a public vote and we had an amazing response, which shows just how important the trees and the people supporting them are to Londoners. The 3 finalists were Rachel Summers. Rachel chalked on Walthamstow pavements about trees growing in the local area. The fun and simple method of identification was eye-catching for people exploring their local area, possibly for the first time.
Hello, I'm Rachel Summers. I live in Walthamstow in North East London. So in lockdown, when we were at the point where you could only really leave your house for about an hour's walk at a time, I took my chalk out for a walk with me and I used it to label up the street trees. So I wrote the names of the trees and some interesting facts about them as I went. So in my day job, I'm a forest school practitioner, which means that I basically get paid to play in the woods with children and make mud pies and look for bugs and things like that. And I was really missing my woods and I was missing the trees in the woods. And as I was walking around, I suddenly noticed that actually I was surrounded by trees. I was kind of like we were in our own urban woodland and our forest all around us of these street trees. I kind of thought, if I've just noticed them and enjoyed them and it kind of lifted my spirits, I thought maybe I could offer that as a gift to other people locally. And I thought maybe if I wrote labels on the ground, then people who walk along looking at the ground might read the labels and it would inspire them to look up and to see the beautiful trees all around us. What I was expecting the first time I went out with my chalk, I went out for a walk with my 10-year-old and with the dog, and I was expecting we'd write on some trees and then maybe, possibly within a day or two, I might hear from somebody, maybe a friend that I knew or see on like local social media, that someone maybe had noticed it and enjoyed it. What I hadn't expected was that within 12 hours it had been kind of picked up by someone locally, had taken a photo, put it on Twitter, and it completely snowballed on from that, so it was quite exciting. Lots of really exciting, proud moments. One thing that I really enjoyed was after I'd been doing it for a little while, I'd be writing with my chalk, and there was an incident when I was up in Hyams Hill over the other side of the Forest Road from here, and there was a couple who walked past and they did a double take as I was walking, and the lady was saying to her partner, "That's a tree lady, that's a tree lady," and she was explaining about what I was doing and I was writing, and she saw me writing it, and I thought, I mean, that was what really gave me a buzz. It was seeing all these little connections with people, some of them in real life as I was writing, but also those connections online, people contacting me from different parts of the country or even from different parts of the world, saying, "I saw what you were doing and I was really inspired by this, and I went out with my chalk and I've labelled this tree up and this is the reactions I got." So it was nice for me, stuck in my home here, because it kind of felt that I had connections all over the place. Suddenly my little bit of chalk writing had far bigger repercussions than just the people who saw it. 2021 hopes, there we are, that's a good question, isn't it? I suppose just that people, having come to understand and value the urban wild spaces around them, don't lose sight of that if things start to get busy, if things start to turn back into something approaching normality, that they'll keep hold of that sense of connection to the earth, to the trees, to the wildness around us, and bring that forward with them into the future. My favourite tree, as I kept writing with my chalk, my favourite tree is a London plane. I've got a lovely London plane here behind me. I like the way that it can survive even next to a really busy road here. It survives and it thrives even in polluted spaces. I love the patterns on the trunk. I love the way that it peels off with all the different colours that you get through that. I love the pom-poms up in the trees. Makes it look a bit like Christmas tree decorations, and even early this time of year I think the tree's starting to get ready, and I quite like that.
TreeTalk. TreeTalk is an app and a website allowing you to explore London and its amazing trees. During daily lockdown exercise, thousands of people used the app to find their way around, identifying the trees along the way. The platform would create suggested walks from our homes.
Hi, we're TreeTalk. I'm Rob.
And I'm Steve.
And I'm Paul.
So I'm going to talk about a little bit about TreeTalk London, the project. TreeTalk London lets you explore the trees of the city, streets and parks and walks unique to you. You can leave directly from your front door and you'll be taken along streets and through parks and be introduced along the way to the stories of trees that you pass. I think we've got over 700,000 trees loaded in TreeTalk, and we've built it in a way that allows us to roll it out in any other city or any other town.
Okay, so I'll tell you a bit about why we developed it. Originally, we thought the data that was released by the GLA was great, and we thought we'd try and see what we could do with it. We were really interested in what was in that data, all the different types of trees that can be seen in London. And in the first place, it was in one place, albeit with a few significant omissions. We're looking at you, Brent, Hackney, Croydon, Haringey, and one or two others. So we're hoping that all that data is going to arrive soon. And then we thought, let's tell people about it. So we added images and descriptions, and then walk generation, which is a thing which really caught people's imagination during lockdown. And that's where we've had an amazing reaction to TreeTalk, which was during lockdown. We got huge amounts of traffic, but the story goes back a bit further. It started 3 years ago, and it's been ticking along fairly slowly since then, but there's been loads and loads of improvements along the way. And as I say, during lockdown, it really caught people's imaginations. In April and May, we were absolutely inundated with media inquiries, and we did loads and loads of interviews, many of which can be seen online. And the traffic that all that attention generated was really absolutely phenomenal. In just one day, we had nearly 10,000 tree walks being generated.
The easiest way to find TreeTalk is to go to treetalk.co.uk, and once you get there, you can generate a quick tree trail right from your door. It's pretty easy. We've also got an Android app, but in terms of our new functions and features, we tend to roll those out on through the main website to give you the best experience.
So we've had lots of proud moments in developing TreeTalk over the last couple of years, but it was kind of really reached its peak this summer during lockdown. We had some great media coverage, including being featured on TV, and Paul was interviewed on TV, and we were in the Guardian and several other newspapers, and that resulted in this huge surge of people just being aware of it and using it. It felt really great to be able to truly connect people to their trees just down their road. I think often to trees that they may have walked past thousands of times without giving them a second thought to. And we had some really fantastic personal messages from people who had found it very useful on their daily walks and in just getting through the lockdown.
So 2021 will be an exciting year for us. First, we'll be updating the current TreeTalk London database with more new trees, as the data is going to be refreshed. And we'll be creating more new features to help you get an even better experience. We also want to help keep more new trees alive and to get closer to the local community. To help support that, we're going more local. That means we would love to work with local councils and organisations, not just in London, but around the UK, to create and develop worthwhile projects.
So, favourite trees? What's yours, Steve?
Oh, well, my favourite tree is the golden rain tree. It's a great all year round street tree. It has flowers, leaves, lanterns. You have to go and look it up to see what they look like, autumn colour. And living opposite one of those for a few years ago really made me aware of the importance of street trees.
So my favourite tree is the Catalina ironwood, which is super rare, and there's just 2 of them in our data. So if you find those on TreeTalk, you know you've found something really special.
And mine is the silver birch. I love it for the colour of its bark and texture, but also for the hardiness to grow on London's streets.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Urban Tree Festival. During the lockdown, the Urban Tree Festival allowed London's trees to come inside our homes with virtual tree walks, daily meditation challenges, talks, workshops and a book club that enabled Londoners to connect with the trees around them, raising the profile of trees.
Peter Fines from the Urban Tree Festival, and I've got some questions from some other members of the group. Mel, can you tell us a little bit about the festival?
I can, Peter. It was a 9-day festival celebrating trees and nature. And we started as an on-the-ground festival, and we became an online festival in less than a month. It was a great mix of expertise and energy, and there was something for everybody. People who were housebound. We managed to engage with people we really didn't expect because we became online and we were on Zoom. And we had the help of scores of volunteers, and we put on 50+ live events, online activities. We published 20 blogs, of which all are still available on www.urbantreefestival.org and also on our new YouTube channel.
Thank you, Mel. And Paul, how many people were involved in setting the event up?
Well, we've had a steering group of 10. We were very fortunate to get a bunch of volunteers to help us during the actual festival as well, which included 6 graduates from graduate students, postgraduate students at Edinburgh Napier University, and 2 work placement students from Goldsmiths as well. We also had a couple of other volunteers who helped us with social media, and we had 120, or at least 120, more than 120 contributors that produced the events that we put on.
Amazing. And Mel, what do you think the reaction has been to the festival?
Yeah, the response to the Urban Tree Festival has been overwhelmingly fantastic. And it's been fantastic from all over the globe. I mean, clearly Londoners loved it, but we were able to reach across the UK, and most of our audience did come from London, and we know that we have a loyal audience out there too. Many of the Urban Tree Festival contributors have actually already come back and offered their time for 2021.
Fantastic. And Paul, do you want to tell us something about the proudest moment of the festival?
Well, there were lots. I think to pick one out, we had a festival after party, which where all the contributors and all the volunteers were invited. It was a Zoom event, and we absolutely packed our Zoom out with the maximum number of people. Some people couldn't get in, and there was a rule that everybody had to wear a hat, a tree-themed hat, and many people rose to the challenge. It was great fun, and it was fantastic to see everybody on that Zoom in a very kind of relaxed and didn't we all do brilliantly kind of way. So yeah, it was great fun. That was very memorable.
Fantastic. And Mel, can people still see the festival online?
Yes, Peter, they can, and you just need to go to the urbantreefestival.org, and we have, which is our website, and you can see every live event. We recorded all the events, so we have a real documentation of everything we did. And our volunteers, our wonderful volunteers, also created a YouTube channel, which you can watch by going to YouTube and putting in the Urban Tree Festival.
Brilliant. And Paul, do you want to say something about the plans for 2021?
Well, we'd love to deliver another fantastic Urban Tree Festival, hopefully with a real life element for 2021. We're already beginning to think about it. I think the biggest obstacle for us really is funding. So what we really need to do is try and get some help from some of the organisations that hopefully are watching this video to financially support us in order to put something as spectacular as 2020 on again in 2021.
Brilliant, thank you. There's 5 of us here. There are in fact 10 members of the Urban Tree Festival steering group, all volunteers, all giving up lots of their time for this amazing festival. We're going to whip round now and all give our favourite tree. And I'd like to start with Peter Coles.
My favourite tree is no surprise to many of you. It's the mulberry.
Andrew Stuck.
It's been really difficult to choose because I've never really had a favourite, but I guess I'll go for the weeping willow.
Brilliant. Mel.
Good.
Yes, again, like Andrew, hard to choose, but mine is the silver birch.
Oh, very nice.
And Paul.
Well, as it's the London Urban Tree Festival, I'm going to have to say London Plane.
You are. And I'm going to have to say the hawthorn. Thank you.
Congratulations to all 3 finalists. You were all Lockdown London Tree champions.